Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever or whenever you are. I'm glad you've made it to this audio guide. Today, we're going to be talking about Presidents Truman and Eisenhower. This will be a shorter one. My students in my class, room 1206, you know that if you're watching this video, it's either because you've been absent, you're catching up, or I'm absent, perhaps at Army National Guard training, drill, or for any other reason at all. And this is still a way that we can have class. So find yourselves in your toolbox. You know, we run a U.S. history toolbox and turn to the page that says Truman and Truman and Eisenhower. We're only going through two presidents today, and this will be a shorter audio guide, and I will return the rest of the class to you to catch up on anything you need to catch up on. Read inside of your toolbox, and there's reflection questions for the units we've already come through. A couple of activities, maybe previous in the packet, or when I'm done with this message here today, you can push forward, use your time wisely. We are in the last unit of our class, and before we hit the Georgia State end of course examination. So we got to push hard to the finish line. Paddle hard is the motto we've had all semester long, kind of like on a surfboard. You got to paddle hard into the wave. Y'all will remember that illustration. This is it. Okay, this is that final push. So today's class, pretty light, but I'm going to give you opportunity to tidy up whatever you need to do in your Unit 5 toolbox. And when I return to class, of course, we will roll into review. And bada bing, bada boom, it'll be the end of the semester before we know it. So ready, set, let's go. We've seen this picture before. We call this the presidents of the Cold War era. We have talked about the mechanics of the Cold War. I have taken you through the international and domestic issues that are the Cold War. This last little slide of our class, screeching into the finish line on two tires. We're going to talk about each president in order. Reference your right-hand side of the classroom, the presidential wall. They are all on that last row, and underneath their picture lists the accomplishments. Those are the accomplishments we are going to be speaking of today. So today we'll just do two presidents, Truman and Eisenhower. And then, of course, we're going to roll into the presidents of the modern era. Our class will end with the election of 2008, and then I'll throw in a little Trump and Biden just for fun. So on your notes there, I call this the presidential baseball card. How many of y'all had baseball cards growing up of any sort? So on front side's a picture, and on the back side is what? Statistics. So I call this the baseball card because it's almost like you're going to be writing down the statistics of each man, the president. And at the end of our last couple of classes here, you can have a nice little tidy set of notes that lists the accomplishments of each man. So when you see their face and then that open blank space next to them, that's where you write down what is on the opening slide. Okay, all their statistics. And then there are a couple of items that we will peel back specifically. For example, under Mr. Truman, you see the GI Bill. So write his whole set of statistics. And then, of course, we'll talk about those extras as well. So there he is, the man, Harry S. Truman. He is the vice president for President FDR. And then, of course, he becomes president when Roosevelt dies in office. He was actually not a very significant or powerful. What?